What do Australians do on Christmas? How do they celebrate Christmas? And this is like one of the most interesting Christmas stories in my Christmas series, and I really couldn't wait to do this one because I'm in North America. But what it is in Australia, you got December 25th coming right in the middle of the summer in Australia. So it gets really hot, and instead of like kind of going by the fire, they're probably running the AC or the air conditioner, trying to keep cool and cold, maybe even going for a swim. And that's really like nothing like what it's like in Europe or North America, where a lot of Australians came from. But even though it's the summertime in Australia, it's really hot, they still keep to the same date for Christmas, and they celebrate Christmas at the exact same time, despite like the weather being the complete opposite from what it is like in other places. And then like cold, you think about it, and it really plays like this huge role in Christmas. With us, we got this warm food, like warm drinks. You got sweaters, and you might have like snow outside. But in Australia, they're changing these sweaters for shorts, maybe even swimsuits, and hot drinks with like beer or champagne, and many even have seafood. And they try to have like cold foods. And there's like this special cake they have there, instead of like this Yuletide cake or such. They have like this pavlova that a lot of them have, and they might have their Christmas dinner at lunch and then have leftovers for dinner like later on. And then they can also barbecue too if they want to, or they can picnic on the beach. And a lot of the times you'll have a lot of fish markets full on Christmas Eve for people getting Christmas fish to have on Christmas. And they say a lot of the food that they'll have on Christmas will be lighter too. And also Christmas, at Christmas time in Australia, they put this Christmas bush on their houses, which is like this special tree from Australia. It's just native in Australia, and it has these green leaves and these cream colored flowers that kind of turn red in the summer, just around Christmas time. And they say too that there can be like bushfires because it's the summer. You'll find people put wreaths on their doors. People do the same thing with the lights. They put lights on their Christmas trees, and lights outside. And another difference is that kids kind of are on their holiday from December to February, so they're out and they can actually go camping. So people might be camping for Christmas time. So another thing is like, what about, so that's if there's them celebrating Christmas in the summer in December in Australia. But what about like Christmas in the winter time? Do they still like do it when it gets cold out? Because it's really hard to kind of separate the winter time and Christmas, and that special feeling. And that's what Australians are like kind of really found out. And a lot of people are still taking part in like Christmas festivities in July, which is because July is like the coldest month of the year for them. So a lot of people have heard of this Christmas in July thing, and they can kind of do or celebrate Christmas like on any day in July. But July 25th is kind of the main day that people take part, and then they bring out like warm food and drinks and they have like fires, and they kind of celebrate Christmas on top of the December Christmas. And they call it like this Yule Tide or Yule Fest. And most of the time, they won't get snow in Australia in July, but it can happen. But a lot of the time they might use like fake snow for celebrations and such. And there's a thing, Christmas in July, it seems like it started around the 1970s or 1980s. It's rumored that it kind of came from like a few people in the in the western like mountains of away from Sydney. It's called like the Blue Mountains, and they're saying that like in July 1980, a few Irish tourists came and they were at this hotel in those Blue Mountains, and they held this Yule Fest. And there was actually this movie that came out 1940, but this thinking that that movie didn't have anything to do with this. That movie was called like the same Christmas in July, I mean. And they're saying it didn't have anything to do with the Christmas in July thing, but somehow it came out and it took off, and you hear a lot of people saying that, and it's kind of taken hold. But that's how they do it in Australia, and they can actually have two Christmases instead of just one if they want to, and their Christmas time falls in the summertime, which can be a lot different and maybe a little bit more comfortable if it's really warm outside and such. It's up to you to decide. Would you want to have Christmas time in the summertime or in the winter time? If you want, leave your comments below and let people know. And this is just part of my Christmas series, and if you want, you can look at the other videos for the Christmas series. Check out some of my other videos too, and subscribe.